actually we'll talk about the Sigerson Cup. Their quarterfinals going to be played, and there's a comment actually coming in here before I get on to it. Hello from Denise. Hope you're keeping well. The 2024 season is up and running finally. Yeah, and hopefully Longford do well, Denise. I know you're a staunch Longford supporter, so hopefully for your sake that Longford actually do well in the Alliance League. You might actually hit Division 4, but we'll get on to Longford in just a while. But look at the Sigerson Cup. We're going into the quarterfinals of this competition, and just to give it a bit of coverage in the last few weeks, the quarterfinals are made up, and it's all next weekend. UCD are up against University of Galway. You have TU Dublin up against Ulster University, Queen's University against Maynooth University, and the big one containing me and Seamus, UL against DCU. And I think anybody would know I am a UL student at the moment. Seamus is a former DCU, obviously graduated nearly. DCU students, congratulations, Seamus. But yeah, this is a big game. This is in Maguire's next Wednesday at 6:30. I'm back in college next week actually, so I might actually pop down to it. So hopefully that should be a good game. But even look at the DCU team, Seamus. So look at Darren Scorpio. You have Sean Jones at full forward, Conor Corbett corner. You have Kevin Quinn from Wicklow in the corners as well. Shane O'Donnell from Donegal, Shane Walsh from Meath, Keelan McGann from Longford, Matthew Costello from Meath, Porrick Hughes from Wexford, Sean Fitzgerald from Galway. So there's some very good players in the DCU team. And then when you look at UL, Kieran Downs from Clare's there, Paul Walsh from Kerry, I think he's in fourth year, the same year group as me. So I probably should know Paul more than anyone else, maybe in the year group. Frank Irwin from Mayo is wing forward. Paul Keeney from Leitrim is there as well at centre forward. Brian McNamara from Clare is a very good midfielder. Very good leap on him. Dark Hashman from my own County Cork is wing back, and I think he's the joint captain of the UL team. Daniel Walsh is there as well. So there's some very good players, and Conor Flaherty in goal from Galway. So some very good players, all right. And the significance is about these two teams. UL have reached the last two finals of the Sigerson Cup. DCU, in my opinion anyway, would have been considered favourites before the ball was even thrown in. They lost to Queens on the first day out, but then they won their next two games, including a 22-7 win over TUS Midlands over the week. So that was an impressive win. So interesting game to look forward to the quarterfinal, Seamus. So who do you think will have the bragging rights in terms of colleges? Will it be me or you?
It's really hard to know. It really is. Like the college competitions are always fascinating because it gives you it's a good litmus test to see how good they're going to be in county championship. It's one of those things that when you're looking at them, player I'm most interested in looking at is Conor Flaherty in goal for UL. Because when you're talking about Galway being All-Ireland contenders, like one of the weak points has been Gleason's ability to deal with high balls in on top of him. We saw it against Armagh, especially and he does look shaky under a high ball ever since. And Conor Flaherty looks solid as a rock in the goal. And I think they kind of were going with him, and then he got injured, and then Gleason's got in and hasn't lost his place since. So I'd be interested to see how Flaherty does. Then will he get any minutes in the Alliance League off the back of that? Would be interesting to see, because Galway have chopped and changed. Gleason, they've gone Bernard Power, and it would do them well to stick with a goalkeeper, because every other top team in the country has their goalkeeper, and Galway need to nail that down as well. Either improve Gleason's ability under the high ball or back someone else. Now, on top of that, it's a fascinating game because there's two teams that you would back to be serious contenders to go and win the whole thing if they get past each other. I would slightly lean towards DCU, and that's not a bias or anything like that. I just think when you list out the players, I think DCU have more players that are kind of already established in their inter-county teams. Like UL have players that are no doubt going to be established in 2-3 years. But I think when you look at DCUs, like Matthew Costello is already one of Meath's most important players. Keelan McGann is already one of Longford's most important players. Like Shane Walsh is already one of Meath's best forwards. And Shane O'Donnell already starts for Donegal regularly. So it surprised me just how many of them were in the team this year. And Conor Corbett is only going to get more and more game time for Cork as well. So I would slightly lean DCU, but UL, and this is the beautiful thing about the Sigerson Cup is it's where stars are made. Like someone could come out of nowhere and just shoot the lights out. It could be someone that we haven't even mentioned that could come on and shoot the lights out for their college and put themselves right on the map for a county call-up.
That's the thing, yeah. And even like UL were probably unexpected finalists last year because
Yeah,
first year they reached the final actually. They had Sean Powter at wing back or centre back, I think it was, and David Clifford at corner forward. So they were all always going to do well. That UL team, they
yeah,
were absolute outstanding. Owen McLaughlin was there over the last few seasons as well. But they don't seem to have too much stars. Maybe stars from other counties such as Clare, Leitrim. Like Paul Keady's a very good player from St Mary's Kiltoggers.
yeah. He's brilliant.
Obviously, Conor Flaherty in goal. Declan Browder has been charged that team for a few seasons now. But do you think you call it affects DCU's confidence, considering they lost the game against Queens and UL didn't lose a game in their first two attempts?
I think the loss against Queens might have given them the kick up the backside that they needed, to be honest, because like they've kind of woke up now and thought, okay, well, we can lose. And if they're a young team full of confidence and they think, God, look, because I know myself, if I was one of those lads and I walked into a dressing room and saw all those lads around the dressing room, like if I walked in and saw Matthew Costello beside me, saw Shane Walsh beside me, Sean Fitzgerald beside me, I'd be very confident that we're going to win this. So to lose might have been pretty good because then they can realize that they can lose these games. And they haven't let it happen since. They were very impressive in their 2 games off the back of that. Now they're into a quarterfinal where they'll know how big this challenge is. Declan Brown, as you said, great coach. And you'd wonder, would he consider the Tipperary job? I know that's a complete sidetrack, but if there's anyone
it's actually
who's...
different. Just to interrupt him, it says Declan
Sorry,
Browder.
different Declan Brown?
It's Declan Browder.
Browder,
BR.
okay. My bad. Complete mix-up. My bad. When you said Declan Brown, I was thinking Tipperary Declan Brown. That's where my mind went to immediately. But no, he's obviously done a good job with UL, managing the stars that they've had over previous seasons, like to get the likes of Clifford, McLaughlin, Powter onside, dragging the team in one direction. This year, he's had to squeeze more out of the team than because he hasn't had the same natural ability that teams previous have. Like David Clifford has on his own more natural ability than most teams in the country have. So like to drag this team to this stage is impressive. I do think DC will probably take it narrowly though.
The fact is as well, DCU actually have a manager that's involved in the Alliance League this weekend, Paddy Christie, the Longford manager.
Christie, yeah.
So he's managing DCU as well. So
he's been around for a long time with DCU.
Have you ever come across him?
He won the Sigerson with them in 2020, I believe, just before the pandemic hit. That was a great DCU team. That was a ridiculous DCU team. It's like Evan Comerford, Paddy Small, David Garland, Jordan Morrissey. Like really strong. Like it was one of those where you look back on it and you're like, what? Like Michal Bannigan was in that team as well. Like incredibly strong.
Just before we get into the Alliance League action, have you ever come across Paddy Christie?
Have I ever actually talked to him? No, I haven't. But he has, he's very, very highly respected. And anybody that I've ever heard speaking about him speaks very highly of him, which is why he's expected to do good things with Longford, which is why people were very surprised when Longford got relegated.